Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to be savoring our life with Diana, and we're going to talk about pivoting with purpose today and so much more. As an amazing life coach, as a mother, as a friend, she joins us again here today to talk more about the work she does. And I want to welcome you back. How are you?
Thanks, Jill. I am doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. It's a Monday before Labor Day. Kids getting ready back to school. It's exciting.
Yeah,
As a
yeah. Oh gosh.
master life coach who lives in Honolulu, Hawaii, it may not be as exciting as your life. How have you been? And tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, life has been exciting and interesting lately. I'll definitely say that. Um, but yeah, what I do is I love helping people transform their life ingredients to find more meaning, to find more purpose, and to create something completely unique and delicious for them. And so today, as we talk about career transitions, that's what I want to share is like, how do we tap into what it is that we already have to create something unforgettable and that the marketplace truly needs?
Got it. Well, by the way, I want people to reach out to you, make sure they can go to the website. And also, she's an author, book Manifest Your Dreams. She's a speaker. She co-founder of the Body Positivity podcast, and she's just an awesome woman. I want to urge you guys to check out her website and, of course, her social media pages. Would you mind sharing?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook at Savor Life with Diana. That's SAVOR Life with Diana. Or you can check out my website, which is savorlifewithdiana.com. If you connect with me on social media, don't forget to send a message so that I can say hi and get to know a little bit more about you and your dreams.
Aw, thank you so much. Women, listen up out there. So for today, what did you have in mind? What are we talking about? Would you mind elaborating?
Yeah, I want to talk about this idea of like when we're feeling unfulfilled in our career, and we're thinking about making a transition, but it doesn't seem like we can because it seems like pursuing our dreams would be selfish. There are people who are counting on us, or it seems like we'd be giving up, all this stuff and starting from scratch in order to create our dream life. And then I also want to talk a little bit as well about how it is that we can use what it is that we have, those life ingredients that we've uh, cultivated through the years to create our own unique career niche. Like, how is it that we can actually align our passions and the market demand to create a highly successful business that's not just something that serves other people, but also serves our soul in a way that's sustainable?
Beautiful. Well, thank you. We also want to learn more about this and, of course, help us make that new transition, amazing and a success. So, a lot of people have dreams, have goals, but they get lost in translation. Life happens sometimes, family needs us. You have your own family, your personal issues. So sometimes you put that career on hold, especially as a mom, right? So let's talk about the importance of and the reason why we should be pursuing our dreams, right? We're allowed to.
Yes, absolutely. We are allowed to. And, in pursuing my dreams, that meant for me walking away from a successful career as a chef to start my dream business. And it gave me the opportunity to step onto international stages, to be on this podcast with you, Jill. But it wasn't like my life always looked this way, right? When I first started my own business, when I made that decision, I thought that the path was actually quite clear. I had these years of experience as a chef, as a business advisor. And so the most logical, conventional route seemed to be culinary consulting. It felt practical, aligned with my expertise, it was safe. And despite the logic, there was something in me that hesitated. I had been burned out from my time as a chef. And there was a part of me that kind of felt like stepping back into that world, even if I was just doing it as a consultant. It didn't spark the excitement that I was hoping for. So instead of feeling discouraged by that like lack of passion that I had, I actually used it to get curious. I spoke with a life coach at the time. She was helping me to navigate my life and business transition. And she asked me a simple question that changed everything. She asked, have you ever thought about becoming a life coach? And my immediate reaction was, no, that's a fake job. Really rude, by the way, to say to a life coach, but I would, I just wanted to be honest in the moment about how I felt. Because in my mind, coaching didn't seem like a real viable career. But as I started to reflect and research, it was like a light bulb went off for me, Jill. Like coaching was my dream job. I've been mentoring, leading, advising others for decades in my career, in my personal life, like everywhere. And now that I had this opportunity to help others navigate their challenges and find their purpose in a way that like this was work that I realized I would love the most. So, as I just stayed open about what my future could be instead of just going for what was logical, it led me to find this work that I truly believe I was meant to do. It wasn't just starting a business, it was stepping into my true calling.
I love it. And here you are. And persistence in pursuing those dreams and goals can really help us out. And we got to also look back and, think about, our past and how do you, take, 'cause some people get discouraged, right? If we have bad experiences in
Yeah.
the past, how do you get
Yeah.
over that? I mean, it's that whole try, try, try again until you succeed. But some people may get frustrated. I can't do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now, as a life coach, I get to help people through those moments where they're doubting their dreams. I get to do this work that's really fulfilling and impactful. And I want to point out, this was never how I planned it or what I even imagined, but it's a perfect example of how sometimes the most rewarding journeys start with that doubt, right? Like
Mhm.
it's not like having the doubt means you shouldn't do it. It means that there's this unexpected that's available to us, and it's up to us to be willing
Yep.
to explore that. Because I find the most fulfilling paths are the ones that are never planned for. What I once thought was a fake job became the most real and impactful work that I've ever done. So I believe the lesson here is let's just stay open to the unexpected, even in the midst of that doubt, because you might just find your true calling.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk more about that. Leveraging your past successes and transforming that experience, you say, into that catalyst for a powerful shift. And how do you even
Yes.
find the career you want? What if you don't know? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm jumping ahead.
So, yeah, so I want to first talk about that idea that this is selfish, because a lot of times it seems like, oh, I have a family who is relying on me. I have people who are counting on me, like a team that's counting on me. I don't think that I can pursue my dreams. This feels selfish. But here's why that's wrong. I have a friend, Michelle. She was feeling really dissatisfied in her successful corporate job. It provided that financial stability for her family, but she
Mhm.
kept having this dream of her own wellness business. And, like many of us, like you were sharing, Jill, she was filled with doubt, right? What if I can't support my family through this venture? What if it's too late to pursue my dreams, right? I've already spent so much time down this path. She said to me, and what she believed inherently was that she needed to sacrifice her own desires for her family's security, for their desires, for their happiness. And through our conversations, I actually asked Michelle, well, okay, imagine that your daughter was in your shoes. What advice would you give her? And without hesitation, Michelle was like, I would encourage her to pursue her dreams because it would empower my daughter to believe in herself. And that was what made Michelle, like kind of as a light bulb moment, realize like she needed a dose of her own advice. She decided, okay, I realized like if this is what I want my daughter to do, I've got to follow my, in what I would tell my daughter to do. So she decided to take the leap, start her own wellness business. And today, her daughter is inspired by her entrepreneurial journey. She openly talks about her own business dreams when she grows up. And that's all because she witnessed her mom do it. Her mom paved the way for her daughter to believe that she could achieve even when others say that it's impossible or that it's selfish. Because again, pursuing our dreams isn't selfish. It's a powerful example for the people around us. It's showing them that it's never too late to follow their passions and to create a life that's fulfilling for them. Yeah.
Now, the work that you're doing when you're working with someone side by side and a coaching position, helping them, let me just ask and back up a step. how long does somebody usually need? What type of programs is it? Is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? How do you figure that part out to start the process? And what's the commitment and then obviously the accountability factor like?
Yeah. So I kind of look at it like diagnosis, almost like a doctor. I want to first have a conversation with a person before to figure out like where they're at and what it is that they need before saying that, oh, it's always this that you need type of thing. So I really want to like understand a person's personal challenges, their obstacles, so we can figure out the best path. My programs range between like a month to 3 months or 6 month programs. There's even a year-long program that I offer. And throughout that, like I believe in that accountability step, right? Because throughout that, again, you're going to experience that doubt and that fear. And it's important that as you're making this investment, like a lot of times people think it's an investment into coaching. And what I've really found is it's actually an investment into yourself. It's an investment into your dreams. It's an investment into your children's dreams, into the people who are watching you, that, you know, it's an investment into them. And as we expand, as we become more, everybody around us benefits. So yeah, but again, I never really know until I speak to somebody. So that's why you're going to want to send a message to me and reach out so that we can look at like what that life would look like for you.
Well, also, you mentioned, people need to figure out what they want to do, or maybe they think they know what they want to do, and they've done that, but now it's time to change. And how do
Mhm.
you help someone discover, an innate talent? I mean, again, this happened during the pandemic. A lot of us lost our regular jobs and had to pivot and find that new niche, but it's not always easy. So, how do you work with them to pull out of them what lays beyond it? The mind, the body, like there, we all have other passions, I think, that we're scared to pursue.
Yeah, I would say I I have like a method of helping a client who is looking at like doesn't know what path to take going forward, to kind of take inventory of what they do have, right? Because a lot of times where they're coming from when it feels like I want to do something new, but I don't really know what, is they're coming from like a lack mindset, right? They're coming from this place of not really knowing, you know, what it is that they want to do. They feel like they don't have anything that they can offer. And I believe that as long as you've lived more than like 6 months of life, you definitely have something to offer. I mean, you could even say like even a small baby absolutely has a lot of life to offer. Um, so it's about looking at our life experiences. It's about looking at our skills, our passions, our talents, our what I call our gifts, right? Like if instead of looking at everything that was part of your life as like in the past as like trash, if you were to look at it as there's buried treasure in here. My thought is like how do we put like a system forward to actually dig through that so that we can figure out what's the gold, and not just what's the gold for other people, but what's the gold for ourselves. Because once we have that energy of like, wow, this is my gold, like that, then you can never really lose that, like um there are lots of things. I'm sure, Jill, you have tons of talents that can help other people, but what matters the most is like what you love. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what
Yeah.
you're supposed to bring forth into the world.
Oh my gosh, what do I love? I know I have so many other passions. I always thought about career changes and stuff. It never happened, but there are things like but I'm scared to pursue. I'm scared to, but it's okay. It's all right. We all at our own pace. All right. What's up next, Diana, by the
Yes.
way?
Yeah.
SavorLifeWithDiana.com, by the way, if you are just tuning in.
Yeah. And I definitely get that doubt and that fear because I faced a moment of doubt too in my own business when I was pregnant. I had actually contemplated giving up my business to avoid divorce, but I realized that how important it was to be true to myself, especially because I was pregnant. I was thinking about my daughter, like what advice I would give to her if she were in a similar situation.
Yeah.
And I realized, like I can't keep sacrificing who I am, who I'm supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
and be making myself small for others. And I realized that, I was better pursuing my business dreams, even if it meant doing motherhood alone, because setting that example for my daughter was important, like being true to myself, like having enough self-respect to advocate for myself and for my dreams was important. I wanted her to have that as a legacy, as an example for her. And when she grows up, I want her to believe in herself that way and know that she can overcome impossible odds to achieve any dream that she has for herself. So, when I'm working with somebody, like I'll often find, like sometimes we just have these worries that pursuing our dreams is going to be selfish. It's going to take away from others. But what if pursuing your dreams could actually make you a better partner, a better parent, a better friend, a better leader? Like, what if it could actually inspire and empower the people around you to believe in themselves even more? And maybe there's a passion or dream that we've put on hold because it feels selfish. But imagine how pursuing that dream could positively impact, like, not just your own life, but the people around you. Like, what if you could integrate this passion into your life in a way that feels balanced, aligned with your responsibilities? And that's what I believe is when we pursue our dreams, we set a great and powerful example for others that ultimately contributes to that greater good. So, like you said, right? Like a lot of times when we're recognizing that pursuing our dreams is essential, we can still hesitate because it seems like making a move means starting from scratch. But it's crucial for us to understand how to leverage that past success and to transform those life ingredients into the base for our powerful career shift. So even when we feel like we got to start from scratch, that's not true, right? My client, Nenny, when we first started working together, when I first met with her, she was in an HR role, completely dissatisfied, but she just didn't know what else she could do. She'd been in that position for like over 10 years. And she was looking on her own at like her degrees and her background, and she had a nursing degree. So she considered like, what, do I go back to nursing? Like, I don't really want to do that. And through the course of our conversations, she realized she was most passionate about working with kids. And she had this experience in collegiate basketball. She loved the sport, but she didn't feel qualified because she didn't have, official coaching experience. But I encouraged her, explore coaching kids volleyball in your free time. Do it for free. Like just do something that is fun. Like balance this part of your life that feels like an obligation with something that you do love. And in that time, she realized it was her true calling. I mean,
Yeah.
it gave her, being willing to do this gave her more bonding time with her daughter before she left for college, which was huge. And they were able to make these memories that last a lifetime. She'd tell me about like these conversations she and her daughter would have in her car as they were driving between the volleyball practices. And I was just like, wow, like this is the gold behind the gold, right? Like you're doing what
Yeah.
you love, coaching volleyball, but here you are having these discussions with your daughter that are leading her to consider her own dreams, right? And now she actually has left her HR job, so she's actually allowed her passion to lead to profit, and like it really just proved to her that her past experiences, some of those things that she thought were not going to be helpful or like useful, were actually the key to her future success. And now like she's building even bigger dreams because like it's been a couple months that we were working together, and I told her when we first started, like the dream that you create right now, you're going to realize in 6 months is actually small, and you're going to need an even bigger dream. And so she's building those bigger dreams.
Beautiful.
And by her example, inspiring her daughters to dream even more boldly about what their future holds.
Oh, I love it. And by the way, I just have to back up a second. I went to the movies last week. There's a movie out called, if I botch it, it's right. It Ends With Us. Did you hear about that, Blake Lively?
Yeah.
And what you were saying, like, did you see it or no?
No, I've heard about it.
But you remind me when you were talking about you had to make a choice as a mom, with your career, with your relationship, with whatever. And in the end, you like, I got goosebumps because like when you see the movie one day, it talks about like, she even says, what would I do for my daughter? What would I want my daughter to do? What would the advice I would give? And then even like her
Yeah.
ex-husband agreed. And that's when she left him and it became just the two of them. And I got goosebumps. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to make that difficult decision and
Yeah.
take a risk.
Yeah. Our past achievements, right? Like they're the things that we have, like they're not here to hold us back from who we're supposed to become. And I believe that like when we really look at life that way, we just open ourselves up to so much more. But sometimes, right, like making that change, it feels like leaving behind everything that we've worked so hard to achieve, right? Everything we've worked so hard for. But what if I told you that those past experiences could actually be the secret weapon that propels us forward in a new direction? So again, what I suggest for my clients is, take inventory of your skills, your strengths, your passions, your experiences over life. Never did I imagine that like embarking on my single mom journey meant that I'd be able to help other single moms, right? So what if your life experience could be repurposed into a new context or into a new way to serve or new industry? Like when you start by identifying just one key strength and brainstorming ways that that could be applied to a new career path or to your existing career path, that helps us really see like we're actually not starting over, we're evolving, we're becoming stronger, we are poised for like our next level. And as we recognize for us that those past experiences are assets and not liabilities, that's when we can begin to carve out a unique career niche, one that not only fulfills our passion, but also serves a unique unmet demand in the marketplace.
Thank you so much. All right, we still have some more time here. And we are talking about pivoting with purpose, mastering your career transition for unstoppable success with our master life coach and friend, Savor Life with Diana. So let's talk about now the transition, right? Because pivoting with purpose, you say master your career transition for unstoppable success.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about that unique career niche, right? How we can, because like, yes, so far we've been talking in dreams and like it's all very like esoteric and out there. We got to get practical, right? So how do we align our passion with market demand for sustainable success? Because a lot of times it seems like we have to choose between passion and practicality, but that's not true. We don't have to do that. So my client Carmelita, she was a successful investment banker. She actually helped with the Apple IPO, I believe, like way back in the day. Eventually, she felt unfulfilled. She left to start her own business. She had moved to Hawaii as well, and she was working as a bookkeeper for other small businesses. But when I met with her, she was longing to work with more nonprofits, but she kind of worried that like choosing to serve her dream clients would mean that she wouldn't be able to serve her family as well as she'd been doing in the past. And with my guidance, with my support, she actually started to attract more of those nonprofit clients into her bookkeeping business. And within just the first year of us working together, Carmelita grew her business by 5x. So she was making this even more meaningful impact for her clients, helping these nonprofits thrive when so many other nonprofits, this was the middle of COVID, were shutting down. And at the same time, her business was becoming even more successful. Her career felt far more sustainable, and she had more time and freedom to travel and spend her days with her family, and make those memories that mattered a lot. And what I find over and over again, and I think it is important to work with somebody who has experience in this, because I don't think every life coach necessarily has that, but like this has been something that I have really loved, right? Is like helping, like, we're talking about finding our own unique niche, right? When I transitioned into coaching, it wasn't just about following a passion. It was looking for where my passion intersected with that unmet demand. And I had this passion for small business, right? I had spent how many years advising businesses. I had this culinary passion. And when I combined those and blended those with this desire to coach and to serve, that alignment is what made my career incredibly sustainable and successful. And it's part of also what sets my products and services apart from the competition. So what I find is that when we find a way to strategically meld our passion with purpose in the marketplace, there's an opportunity for us, if we're strategic about it, if we have the right guidance, to not just find a job, but to create a niche. And that's where the fulfillment and the success actually intersect. And it's not only just entirely within our reach, it's ours and ours alone to create and to cultivate. So like, there's nobody else, Jill, who has your experience, right? Like there's nobody else who's had my life experience. And when I combine that with my passion, with how I want to serve in the world, and I look for like, how is it that these two things combine? That's where we create something that has value that nobody else can ever touch, right? Because a lot of times we're feeling torn between that passion and a practical, stable career, but we don't have to choose. We can carve out that niche, right? Creating a career that combines both, leading to that financial success and that deep fulfillment. So if we're open to that, right, look for a passion or an interest that maybe you've been sidelining, but at the same time has been kind of like, just tapping you on the shoulder all the time, but it just doesn't seem practical. And maybe consider researching how others have turned that into a viable career. And when you find that intersection where passion meets demand, that's where your career niche exists. And, the common thread through all these stories, because I know we got to wrap up, is that each of us were able to pivot with purpose by leveraging past experience, following passion, and aligning that passion with real need in the world, right? We didn't just switch courses, we created lives and careers that were deeply impactful. And if that's something that is of interest to you listening, then let's have a conversation. Let's take that first bold step towards a career, towards a business that's passion driven, where you are carving out your own unique niche, where you're setting the trend and you're not following and working with, trying to catch up with your competitors.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. How can we reach out to you again, Diana?
Yes, so you can follow me on social media. It's at SAVOR Life with Diana, Savor Life with Diana, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also, when you do that, send me a message. Share your thoughts, share your passion. I want to know about you and your dreams. And don't wait for that perfect time, right? It's time to take action and start living that life that's fully aligned with who we are now. Because, if nothing else, my 9/11 experience taught me like we just don't know how long we have, and
so true.
How much longer we have to fulfill our purpose and our mission here on Earth.
Beautiful. Thank you again for being here. How can we contact you one last time?
SavorLifeWithDiana.com, SAVOR Life with Diana, or at Savor Life with Diana on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. Pleasure seeing you, and have a great week. We'll talk next week again. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Jill.
Bye, sweetheart. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.